submit. Submit. Come to the home. Okay, we see that here. So we see it fades out. It fades in, then it slides out. Okay, so now that we have seen the project demo and we know what we're going to be building, so let's get started. So we're going to be using Firebase in this tutorial. So if you don't know, I'm also going to be teaching Firebase. If you don't know about Firebase, you're still going to be good. But if you just want to learn how to add a project, which is also very easy, there's nothing there, just add a project. But me, I'm going to be using an existing project. It's still the same basic thing. Okay, so you can come if you do want to learn more about Firebase. You can come to my channel. I have how to Firebase storage tutorial, and I also have this tutorial here where you also learn how to use Firebase version 9. But we are going to be using it with Svelte, which is a little bit different. So first of all, let's get started with Svelte. So I have the folder that I want to get started here in Visual Studio. Okay, what I want to do is run npm create vit at late. Okay, I just say npm create vit. So this is how I'm going to use a vit app, and we're not going to be using the default Svelte app. That we're going to be using this one because it comes with some benefits such as hot module reloading. Okay, wait. It's auto at latest. Okay, I think we need to put the latest. I think we need to put. So I'm gonna run npm create vit at latest. So late. It's going to ask us for a project name, so we're going to put the dot. This signifies current directory. Then package name Svelte Fire. Then choose a framework. We're going to use Svelte. Then choose a variant. I'm not going to be using TypeScript, so just Svelte. And I've done that. npm I. So what I'm going to do, we open this file. You can see all our projects here. So the vit config contains our configurations, the readme, just some information about using Svelte and vit, package addressing all our dev dependencies. Remember, Svelte is not a hardcore dependency. JSON config, these are just the compiler options of vit. Index or HTML, this is where everything got bundled to, and in the source folder, this is where we're going to be writing our code. So let's give this a second. Okay, now, so I've installed vit. Wow, I've installed vit properly. This is the default app we did. So what I just did, I run npm I, and I also installed the Svelte extension. So it already started because this is one of the advantages of using vit. Then I'm going to come to localhost 3000. Okay, this is what we get. This is what they give us. But we don't want this. We want our blog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete every single thing in the main tag. I'm also going to delete everything in the style tag. Okay. So delete every single thing. Okay. Nice. Empty. Good. Okay. So we have that empty boilerplate. Well, we're also going to need a new component and a new .Svelte. So this is responsible for creating new blog. While the configurations compare all our Firebase config. So config.svelte. So let's just put our Firebase config details. As I said, I'm going to be using an existing project. So just click on that project. Okay, that has loaded. So let's click on our project setting and There's two ways to use Firebase. You can either use a CDN or the NPM version. So I prefer to use the CDN because the NPM version is bloated with a lot of things that you don't need, that you might not use. So the CDN for me is more specific, so it doesn't break all my internet connection. But they are literally the same thing. Okay. So we're gonna copy that, paste this inside our config. Instead of type module, we're gonna change this to context of module. And the reason for that is because when we're using Svelte, it will enable us to export variables in the context of module. Normally you can't export, it's not like a React component. Then we do not need the analytics, so we can delete the analytics. Okay, so we change it to get Firestore. Then we'll change this to DB. You're going to understand where this get Firestore function is going to come from in a matter of seconds. Copy paste. Paste. So we're going to change instead of initializer to get Firestore. Then we're going to say Firebase Firestore.js. So what are we basically doing here? So I just okay. Do we have an error? So what I'm going to do is that we're initializing Firebase. Well, this initialize app is going to initialize Firebase. But we're not getting Firestore. This is what we're going to initialize our Firestore. We're saying get Firestore app. So we pass in our configuration to the get Firestore function. And with this function now, we can run, edit, delete functions, so on and so forth. So one last thing that we're going to have to set up is materialize CSS. As you can see, the design was not mine, it was from materialize CSS. Maybe in our next project with Svelte Kit, we are going to use something more cooler, like Tailwind CSS, but I just like using materialize. It's easy and it's simple. There's something like Bootstrap. Bootstrap is a lot of boilerplates. Their navbar is huge. So what I'm going to do, come to the index.html, I'm going to paste this in the head. And in the script tag, let's just put a defer. Save. And just for correction, you do need the script tag. So we have gotten started with Firebase, or initialized Firebase, so I started with it. So let's just take a little break, then we'll be back. Okay, so I'm going to continue for where we left off in the last video. So we set up everything, open the console in case so that we don't have any errors. So let's get started with the template. So in the new, we're going to have a form, and you can find it under the text input. So you should always know how to use the docs and take control of it to your full, because the docs is like, it has everything. Nobody can teach you every single thing. Sometimes you also learn how to use the doc. Okay, this is the one that we're going to be using. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come here, paste. So what I'm going to do is that this icon prefix, we can remove this. We do not need this. And this telephone, you can change this to blog body and blog title. So blog body. So blog title. The first one is the title. Copy this. Then we can change this to blog body. Okay. So instead of S6, which is going to take up half, we're going to make this S12. Then outside of here, we're going to make a H4 that says make a new blog post. Save this. We won't see this yet. What we have to do is that we have to import it all the way from there. So we're going to say, instead of counter, we're going to say new. Then we're going to say new. Okay. So now that I've done that, in the main tab, we also want to have a navbar that we can use to toggle in between them. So let's come here and write now. So let's copy the simple navbar. So we can click on paste. So if you save this now, due to our nice hot module reloading, you should see that immediately. So we can see that, but there are some problems with it that we're going to fix. First of all, this pink different color is horrible. I hate it. So what I'm going to change is, we're going to use purple instead. Then everything is flushed up. We're going to give it a class of container. Then inside here, we're going to change this to log or whatever. then save. Next time, save. Okay, better. So let's update this link. So we only need 2 links. So comment. It's gonna be home. Why is gonna be make a new blog? Why this is going to point to nothing? Because we're just plugging them. So we're gonna make a kind of tab system which you can use to switch between. We're just gonna say const current. Okay, actually this is going to be a let current tab be equal to home. So the current tab is home at first. Then what we're gonna do when they click on this li tag, make new blog, we're going to set the current tab to equal make new blog. So how do we do that? Let's try and do this anyway. I'm just going to give you a hint. Say current tab is equal to make a new blog. If you do this, you might think you're correct, but you're actually very wrong. So most people miss at this point. It's actually supposed to be a function. This thing gets me all the time. I normally forget. On colon click. Okay, we're gonna set this to home. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna run an if check here. So if current tab is not equal to home, that means it's at the new. So we're gonna render out new like this. Then else we're just gonna render out home with home. Just remember one last thing. We gave the navbar a class of container so that it's not look flushed up. We're also going to give this one a class of container so that it's not look flushed up. So come here, home sweet home, make a new blog. We see that make a new blog post. And what we have to do is that we also have to add that submit button. So come to the new. What we're going to do outside this div of S12 button.btn, that's the button class, then blue submit, save. Okay, now that we have that, we have made our tab system good. We have done the UI. So then in the next module, we're going to be making it post the Firebase. And now I've set up everything to make a new blog post should be very relatively easy. Okay, so what I'm going to do, we're going to add a script tag. So your script tag doesn't have to be in the bottom, it can be anywhere you want. So we're going to import db app from /current directory config .svelte. What we're going to do now is that it's very simple. On colon submit and do submit. So when that form is submitted, we're going to handle that submit. So let's make that function accordingly. So const handle submit is going to be equal to the event object. The first thing I want to run is e.prevent default. And by the way, this should be an async function. So the first one, okay, now that we have that, we also need, okay, why is this in gold? I don't know why that's in gold. That was weird. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a title and a body to bind the value of. So for this input, bind colon value. We're going to bind the value to the input, so to the title variable. Copy. Body. And let's close this here. Close this here. So now that I have the value of those two guys, we want to run a simple check to make sure the user did not type anything. The user just clicked the button and they did not, like, you know, by the way, type equal to submit. So like to make sure that they had stuff that they wrote, they didn't just type it in the input where the input was empty. So if title is equal to undefined, because that's what they are at first. So undefined or body is double equal to undefined, and by the way, this should be a triple equals to, because the operator is more strict to make sure they do not type the string undefined, because it doesn't even know the difference. If it's equal to undefined, I'm going to alert please, okay, not allow payment request, alert please type in a body or a title. Then at this point we want to end the function immediately, and for doing that we can return so else, meaning that there is something in this tube. So what we're going to do in this else, so we're going to require something from Firebase to add a new collection to a document. So we're going to copy this, copy. So what we're going to do, require add doc and collection. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to say try catch. So when there's an asynchronous function, you can run a try and a catch. So if there's an error in this try block, it's going to automatically push to the catch block. This is modern syntax using async and await. So try. So in the try catch, this is not the dot then alternative. So in the try catch, what we want to do is we want to say add doc, await, add doc, and in the add doc, I'm going to pass in collection because we want to pose this to a particular collection, right? Blog. You can make your own blogs, because I already have. The reason why I named this blog because I already have something called blogs. And the first thing now we're going to pass in is the DB, which is the Firebase configuration. Then we're going to pass in the title. So the title is going to be the title, the same thing as same title, comma, body, comma. So if this was successful, alert document posted successfully, else alert error while posting document. So if we let's test this out in action. So let's come here and add a title 1, title 2. We click on submit. Document processing. That's it. Let's come and check it. Let's be the judge of that. So if we come here to our Firebase, click on this guy, click on Firestore. Can actually say it made something called blocks and it had those values here. Okay. 6 minutes left, so I've recorded 6 minutes. So the other part of this is to make it so that we can get the blocks here in the home suite. So let's do that in the app. So as again, in the new, we're going to require these two guys. Copy. Or are you going to use an on snapshot listener? Okay, on snapshot listener. So for that, we're gonna check the docs. So as I said, you should always know how to use the docs. Just gonna check the docs because this thing is a bit confusing. So let's just check the docs on reading data, listening for real-time updates. Okay. 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 This is what it is. So you can just copy this here. But this is not what I'm going to use it because there's a lot of things that are going to filter out. And just copy that. Paste that. First of all, we're going to... So I don't want to make this confusing for you guys. So just comment that one out. Let's copy this. Because this was if we installed it as a module. I'm going to remove that, paste this in. So first thing that we're going to do, that this is a query. Okay, this is a query. You can just query, then pass it to the on snapshot listener. But I don't want to make things too complicated for you guys. Let's comment that. Simplified. This reason why I'm saying it's a variable because we can remove and unsubscribe when the component is destroyed using the component on destroy. So inside here we can just pass in collection. We've already seen this one. Collection. Passing the DB and passing the blog. So we're passing this inside there. Then when we pass there, we get the query snapshot. And inside the query snapshot, we have these cities, and what they are doing is that they are pushing to the city. So we remove this code. Remove this code. Remove this code. You just want to just have a local variable called let data. So let data. So I'm going to say data is going to be equal to query snapshot dot docs. So this is going to get the document. You can see the way I simplified everything for you guys. Query snapshot dot docs. So what we're going to do is that we're going to run a simple if check. So when the tab is home, so we're going to say if data. So if there's data, if data is not undefined, undefined is a false value. So this is going to evaluate if it's true. So if there's data, each, we're going to run an each. So each data as item. Or snapshot.docs is a data containing item. So we're going to put a div with a class card. Then here inside here we're going to have the card content. Then we're going to have a span or card dash title. Then we're going to say item dot data dot title. Okay, that's how you get it. Item dot data dot title. Copy this. Here we're going to render out item dot data dot body. Let's just see if this works. Okay, we have an error. Okay, we're just passing DB. What's the error? Let's look at it. Okay, it's ought to be in the lead. Save. Let's check this out in the browser. You see title 1 and title 2. Sweet. So we can make a new blog, test 2 and test 2. And the funny thing about this is that immediately, that's why we have an on snapshot listener document posted. We have that. As this doesn't look like our design, so let's configure it. So the first thing that we're going to do is that I'm going to write some custom CSS. So if I write some custom, I'm going to give this guy a class of blue gray. So let's just write a tiny bit of CSS. So the card color should be FFF for white. while the width should be 300 pixels, or rather even 400 pixels. Save. Okay, good, looking good. You can even give it that class of continuous. So the last thing that we're going to do is that we're going to make the delete function work. The delete function is going to last thing we're going to do. So how are we going to do that? So what we're going to do is that after the card content, we're going to have a card action. In the card action, we're going to have a button or btn and red. Then it's going to say delete. On click, undo delete. We haven't made this function, I know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say id is going to be equal to the item.id. Copy this, because that was what we're going to use to delete it. Copy this. Const and do delete. So we're going to require delete doc. So this is an async function. You can run a try catch if you want. Delete doc, then we're going to pass in the collection and pass in db. Then we're going to say pass in db. I'm going to write log. Okay, so this is, we're not going to use collection, we're going to use doc, and I'm going to explain that. There's a reason for that. This is going to be, so give me a second, you might be confused, I'm going to explain it. Slash. So we're going to get the ID by saying e.target.id. Then I'm going to await this. So what are we doing? We're running a delete doc function. Then we're passing the doc. Why are we not using collection? Because when we use collection, the path must be odd. So now that we now use doc when we're pointing to a document. Collection is normally for collection, because the path must be odd. One is an odd number. So if it's 2, it will be a doc. We'll use doc. But if it's 3, we'll use collection. So this is the number of segments. This number of segments is 1, but this one is 2. So that's why we're using doc. Save. I have an error. Promise. Blah, blah, blah. Let's refresh. Okay. You see delete button, so let's try and delete. We pass in db, pass in the. It should work. Let's refresh again. So let's check if the document ID is on this guy. And see, it has the document ID. We're running e.target. So click on delete. So it should delete. I wonder why that function is not running. Let's debug a little bit. So let's just check the docs in case there's anything I'm doing wrong. So let's read on adding and managing data, deleting data. Start it here. Doc. So we pass in doc, pass in the city. Okay, maybe instead of saying blog, passing it like this, you can get the problem. If you can see here, this guy is literally the problem. This guy is literally the problem. As you can see, I had to zoom in the window. So we're going to remove that guy, save it. You can do it like this, and you can also pass in the ID like this, or you can also say city/DC. Same thing. I'm going to demo that for you. So let's refresh. Delete. That goes. Delete. So I've done it. So we can now make a new blog 1. We can now make a blog description, submit, blog posted, then we can delete. So that's basically everything. So in the next section, we're just going to do the animations. We can fine tune it. So I'm going to import. So we're going to start with the Svelte animations and transitions in this section. So I'm going to say import slide and fade from Svelte/transitions. So it's very easy. We just say in :fade. Then we can pass in some we can pass in some configuration. You can see something like delay to be 300 milliseconds. Save. Then we can say out slide. You can just pass in out slide. You don't always need to pass in configurations. So save. So let's make a new blog.